Welcome back to the last day of the MSI group stage. Our next game is between RNG and EVOS, with the LPL champions looking to catch up with the Flash Wolves and Kingzone, who have the same amount of wins after that last game. So taking a look at it, straight off the top, Flash Wolves, having played one less game, of course, still have room to go, but RNG could just as well make a run for that first place slot as Kingzone can.
And the big thing they have to guard against is just having a letdown game against EVOS right here, because they had that impossible-looking schedule yesterday playing Flash Wolves and Kingzone. And now this is a team that has only beaten North America, has lost every game since then, and they'd be feeling very comfortable. But if you remember the game,
only beating North America?
Only, yes.
Wait 1 second here.
No, but that's the thing. You bring up this idea, like we've been talking about how teams have found their strategy, they're changing up their picks, they're going back to what worked for them domestically. The thing is nothing's really changed for RNG. It's still very much kind of the same picks, you know, going for more of the fringe Cho'Gath. We've only seen a couple of other teams pick it up maybe once or twice, but they've played it, I believe, 3 or 4 times so far. And for me, it's just the individual performance of members. Like, we had Xiaohu super slumping on day 1, and then, you know, previous days he just decides to show up. Letme is integrating better with the team. Mlxg has stopped doing some of the random crazy things that he did early on in the tournament, rather than adjusting any of their champion picks or changing up their style.
It's kind of funny, though, because a lot of people talk about, you know, okay, well, to beat RNG, you just put Uzi behind, right? You just have to beat him, but he's, you know, one of the best, if not the best.
That's part of your strategy.
Laning AD carry.
Uzi.
Exactly. So he's been playing so incredibly well, and I think unless you can put him behind, unless you can put him at a disadvantage, it becomes so hard, because we have seen time and time again throughout the tournament, this guy can put the team on his back in team fights. He is unreal.
Tough task. And on the other side, we do have EVOS from the VCS, and while a spot in the semifinals is out of reach for them, we still have to highlight the team's performance here at MSI so far.
Yeah, I think when they walk away from this event, they'll actually be pretty disappointed that they didn't pick up more wins, because they've had a lot of pretty close games, especially with split push or against split push, where it looked like they were going to be able to turn the corner and couldn't quite close it.
But it's just these small moments. You think back to that Stark versus Caps game. You know, if he had just played that 1v1 a little bit better in the Camille versus Vladimir, they could have walked away with the game. So I agree with you, because I think their expectations were higher for themselves. But ultimately, watching this Vietnamese squad, I'm so impressed, because again, it's no longer the Gigabyte Marines just having these crazy picks that put you on the back foot and like superstar Levi. It's playing a very standard, controlled game of League of Legends and going toe-to-toe with a lot of these powerhouses from the domestic regions.
Yeah, and you can't look at these guys like a 1-7 team if you're RNG or Fnatic today, because even though they're eliminated from the knockout stage, they still got a lot to play for.
They have been pushing many of these teams to the limit, even if they aren't picking up the victories themselves. Let's see if EVOS can crash the RNG party as we head over to Quickshot, Kobe, and Vedius.
Thank you very much joining us on the call today. Excuse me, Vedius. What's up, buddy?
Love you, Vedius.
Thank you. Just before we jump into picks and bans,
already.
Let's introduce the team. Starting on the blue side, it is EVOS, who are looking to crash the RNG party with Stark in the top lane, YiJin in the jungle, Warzone in the mid lane, Slay and RonOP AD carry and support with their coach, Violence.
And their opponents from the LPL will be RNG in the top lane, Letme in the jungle, Mlxg in mid lane, Xiaohu, AD carry Uzi, support Ming, and coach Hart on stage with them.
Love the conviction in your voice there, Kobe, representing the LPL. RNG definitely
no problem,
coming in.
Thaddeus.
Coming in definitely as the favorites in this matchup, but I believe it was Deficio that said a wounded animal is always at its scariest. And the thing about EVOS is they have nothing to lose right now.
He may not have been the first to say it, but yes, he may have said it more recently.
I believe it was his quote. In scriptures, it was Deficio. But the point is, EVOS, they have nothing to lose. They can play without any pressure, and that is when a team is truly, truly terrifying.
Deficio also says things like, "Kiss me, Trevor." So there's a lot that comes out of his mouth. Meanwhile, though, bans here already targeting the bottom lane. Kog'Maw and Rakan taken away from Uzi and Ming.
The last time these two teams played, Uzi and Ming had the Xayah Rakan combo. They played into Slay and RonOP's Ezreal and Taric. That was the day RonOP had one great Taric game and one not so great. We'll see what they do. Obviously, it's fairly one-sided. EVOS are eliminated from playoffs, and RNG are fighting for seeding.
Yeah, and very clearly, whenever Uzi is in the game and it's an RNG game, you're going to think about the bottom lane. So a lot of these bans are targeted at him. They take out 2 of the scariest Raised Blade champions that he has used, and I think that's a good strategy here from EVOS. They want to put Uzi on something on a crit scaling champion. So it will take longer for him to bring that power to team fights, and they could try and split the map or get jungle 1v1s.
You've got to remember that Ezreal is still available for RNG. Wouldn't be surprised if that's a priority, but it's not. One of the most regularly banned junglers against EVOS is this Graves, and I'm curious as to the direction that Mlxg will look to go, as we have seen him bring out the Lee Sin in the past in this matchup.
Definitely true. Mlxg has been up and down this tournament, and I like that EVOS are putting their star player, YiJin, here in a position to succeed and try and play off of that role. Usually he'll also work with Stark, but as you said, Ezreal left up and Ezreal picked.
Yeah, and of course that Karma flex by Xiaohu and Ming have played it once this group stage already. This will be YiJin's first Graves, so EVOS have to start making some guesswork into where they think that Karma is going to go as they're in a round out their phase 1 picks shortly.
The thing is, I really don't want to see Stark on Ornn again. It is his most played champion so far this tournament, but the most competitive ones are where we've seen him on things like the Camille. I feel like those split push champions suit him best, but they put more faith in their jungler being the damage dealer, and they just want some engage from top.
Yeah, and I mean, he even was getting solo kills with Ornn.
That is true.
His lane phase was pretty good. There were also some problems arising when he had to completely leave the lane and went down to 100 CS very early on, but he is going to be the front line this time around. They locked in the Ryze for some mobility from mid lane. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, though, Mlxg taking the Zac is going to be a different look because Zac does not have priority early, and he's not going to be the normal Mlxg that you're used to.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that with Zac, when you put yourself low in your own jungle clear, it becomes possible for YiJin to look for those aggressive invades. And for EVOS, that's the kind of style that you want to be seeing from them. Get in the face of your enemy, get involved in those early kills, and if you can find that early advantage, maybe you can transition that down into bot lane and then shut down Uzi.
Yeah, one thing later about Zac, after you get some levels into your Elastic Slingshot, it is very easy to gank bottom lane. You can charge up Elastic Slingshot from multiple different angles, and it forces the enemy team to ward much deeper and expose themselves if they really want to get that vision down.
Well, let's see how well EVOS can play around that vision game, Kobe, because they've got to now lock in their AD carry and most likely support as well. Cho'Gath, Alistar, phase 2 bans. Where do you think this Karma is going to end up? Seeing how we know it's a Ryze, do you like it into Ryze, do you like it somewhere else? And the fact that I suppose we don't have EVOS's duo lane, I guess that leaves difficult questions.
I think they haven't decided yet, quick shot. I honestly think that their priority is to lock in a strong top laner right now and then flex it depending on what makes the most sense. The fact that they have banned the Thresh inclines to me that they are looking at a support Karma, because typically Thresh is very good into these squishy range supports.
Yeah, it definitely could be the case. It's also decent in mid lane, you get the banner minion, but against Graves, Graves is actually one of the junglers that is very good to call to your mid lane to kill one of those banner minions and help you out, and you can do it pretty quickly.
Well, Letme's played one champion that hasn't been picked or banned this game. It was Maokai. The Shen, the Ornn, the Sion, the Cho'Gath, they're gone.
Gangplank is available though, and we do know the power in which he can have heading towards the bot side of the map, and I think that it's a pretty safe pick into the Ornn as well, especially if you go for Grath. It does give you a little bit of a stronger trading pattern.
And especially since they have a pure tank in the jungle, Zac, going to be able to scale up and be the front line for them. They already have long-range initiation. Definitely like the pickup here for Letme.
Options here for EVOS. I like how as we've progressed throughout the tournament, Varus's priority has gradually dropped. When you think about the amount of success that he's had on day 1, the fact that he now kind of falls behind things like Tristana surprises me, because we do see that Rageblade AD carry seem to be all the rage right now.
All right, what do they round out this support with here, Kobe?
Honestly, I think they're going to want some extra power in the lane. That would be
Taric.
Not exactly what I was thinking there, but because if you look at the jungle matchup and you want to use Graves offensively here, he could go to the Ornn lane into the Gangplank. One thing we have seen solo kills Ornn on Gangplank, but also if you bring Graves up there, they can really pressure that area of the map. They've already locked it in though. They've gone with that Taric for the bottom side. Now a Tristana rocket jumping in, they did buff the extra damage, and you can easily position a Taric stun. So there still is potential there. It's just that it's very difficult, especially if you're against something like Karma speed up and a mobile Ezreal AD carry.
Yep.
Those things become very hard to lock down.
We've also seen RonOP use that stun very effectively earlier on in the group stage, and now we know that it is the Karma support because Xiaohu has locked in Zoe for the mid lane.
Now, we have seen Zoe and Ezreal as a duo multiple times now over the last 2 games, largely because it is a very strong poke siege setup. The fact that you have such long-range harassment, you can have it from so many different angles. Normally, you pair it up with something like a Morgana, but a Karma can do a very similar job. And basically, whenever the enemy team groups up, you do not want to let them engage. You just want them to stand around trying to get close while you just keep throwing random stuff at them. You gradually hit them in the face and double tier with a 2-item Zoe. You take a lot of poke damage.
Definitely agree. RNG going to try and get to their first item and then start taking advantage of that poke. The other thing about the bottom lane with Ezreal and Karma is it's so frustrating to gank early on.
Yes.
They should be able to stay very safe, and Uzi has been so good at farming up advantages in lane. Seems like he almost never misses the CS.
All you really have to do is dodge the Taric stun, and then you're pretty much good to go because you have the speed up, you have the Ezreal jump, like so many tools in your kit to avoid a lot of the potential bot lane plays. And to add insult to injury, there's a Gangplank ultimate there to dissuade any potential gank.
Yep, I definitely expect YiJin on the Graves to be playing the top triangle half of the map here, helping out Stark, maybe possibly even setting up a Warzone, the Ryze, one of the champions that could definitely set up Graves ganks.
I'd also love to see YiJin moving into the enemy jungle, having a little bit more control. Zach, we've talked about how weak his early game is. YiJin on the Graves can get that early advantage, but in order to do so, he needs pressure from his laners and coordination to make it happen.
All right, so my eyes will be on YiJin then. Thank you very much, gentlemen. EVOS taking on Royal Never Give Up. Now we know, as we stated a whole lot, EVOS are eliminated. But listen to the RNG cheers here in Berlin. The amount of LPL jackets and signposts is flabbergasting, but when you have such a synonymous player like Uzi and a team like Royal that have been around for so long, it's not that surprising.
Yeah, they are definitely favored to win this game. EVOS are the underdogs, but they're looking to make it happen, and already pings for possible invades. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though.
Well, when do you think is the time they'd fully cancel it? Around about 110? Is that a safe spot? We've seen these invades becoming a little later throughout MSI.
Well, I actually see them pinging inside the pit. They don't know where the Gangplank is. They're actually just going to be 2 ships passing in the wind, or Stark actually is now chasing.
No, there'll be a love tap, yeah. Parlay, Bellows Breath. I think Stark wins the trade. Advantage EVOS in the damage graph.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you go for a trade with a champion that has Klepto, though, do you really win? He didn't get much.
Got a pot.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. Lane is over. Officially confirmed.
YiJin did go over through the Baron pit here, though, so they saw the ward by Raptors be put down. They work around that vision. Haven't given any information away. Yep, that exact ward. They saw it placed because they were in the tri-bush. All
right, so nicely done. YiJin gonna steal away the Brambleback. We'll keep track on whether or not Mlxg can respond, either splitting the map or finding a gank back.
This is exactly what we said. You want to start on the top triangle of the map. You're invading the jungle. It sets him up to play off of these laners.
Exactly, and you can put the Zac behind, because right now RNG have no idea that this invade is happening, and the fact that Mlxg is doing a full clear towards the bot side, it's not only one of the advantages of Zac, but it could end up costing him once he realizes, I've got nothing left.
Well, YiJin gonna take an exit path up here through the top side.
Actually gank.
Yeah, there's a possibility if Stark decides to go aggressive, but you don't want to unnecessarily reveal yourself just for a little bit of damage.
Exactly that, Kobe. I do not agree with this because now you give Mlxg full information as to what you've just done. So you would expect him typically to move towards the bottom side of the map, but clearly Mlxg is saying, oh.
Yeah, I definitely agree because his bottom lane is pushing right now. You know, the Uzi and Ming lane, double ranged. But on Zac, he definitely don't want to get caught on the opposite side of the map, so he makes his way all the way up to the Krugs to clean up the last remaining camp on his side of the map. And YiJin will be just fine with power clearing now.
All right, so if YiJin gets hold of his red buff, that will at least be a 3-buff start. Kiting away that blue, as you can do on the Graves. Mlxg going to be put a little behind in terms of experience and some of that gold. RonOP's going to look for the stun. Manages to find it onto Uzi. There's a rocket jump forward. Ignite comes down, as well as that satchel charge. RonOP flash for flash to follow Uzi.
All of a sudden, this super safe lane down here becomes a possibility for ganking. Slay has both summoners available. RonOP also did use the Ignite, though, so maybe that's not quite so much.
It's one of the disadvantages of running teleport on the AD carry. Uzi doesn't have that same sort of defensive setup, and now we see the Graves hanging around the mid lane.
All right, take a look at this. Flash is available for Xiaohu. The Sleepy Trouble bubble will keep Warzone locked in place. YiJin's not done chasing yet. The smoke screen will slow him down while they're chasing in the mid. Letme's in trouble. Stark looking for the solo kill. Won't find it. YiJin and Warzone, they're chasing. There's a quick draw forward. Now there's the channel from the jump. Xiaohu flashes to safety. He stays alive. Now Mlxg with the unstable matter. RonOP comes in looking for the stun. All of a sudden, RNG, they're trying to surround EVOS. Then Paddlestar comes back, and that gives Warzone a spanking. Ming is flashed forward. Trouble bubble sleeps nobody. EVOS continues to run for their lives. The fight's not done yet. Mlxg was looking and fishing for RonOP, will not find him.
A lot of summoner spells were used there from EVOS as they tried to chase it for a couple of early kills. Xiaohu very patient with his flash, baiting EVOS into this choke point where RNG could have potentially turned it around, but nobody ends up dropping, no deaths on either side, and now Mlxg will look to steal away the red buff that was stolen away from him.
In addition, the summoner teleport that you mentioned for Uzi on the Ezreal allows him to keep up the pressure. He goes back, buys the tier very early on with his big CS lead, then teleports back to keep up the pressure and disallow Slay from entering that room.
Yeah, so even after losing that early trade, he doesn't really lose any HP. Immediately back, and now it forces Slay to be in this awkward position where if he backs, that already big CS gap is going to be made even bigger.
Yep, unless they're able to punish Uzi for the flash that was blown in the little bit of a trade, then he's definitely going to have a very good time down here and scale quite well.
I want to talk a little bit more about Uzi. He's up 15 CS. Yesterday, he got 2 Kai'Sa games, and he played exceptional. 28 KDA, 82% kill participation is what blows my mind. The whole team just like, yep, you are the carry now, and we'll do everything we can to get you involved.
Yeah, I believe he got 20 kills yesterday, and that moved him from like 7th in total kills from the tournament all the way up to 1st in a single day of plays. He definitely did a lot of work yesterday, and RNG looking to replicate that performance as they are 5-3 in the standings right now. First place is a potential opportunity for them as we see a bit of a trade in the bot lane.
And Vedius, all those stats and numbers you just said was against RNG and against Flash Wolf, sorry, and Kingzone. So it was against 2 of the strongest teams in the event. RNG showing what their capabilities are. And they're going to try to do it again. Xiaohu's looking in the mid lane for Warzone. While the Ornn was summoned and Letme flashes away from it. Warzone's alive for now, but he needs to dodge the paddle star, or he needs to dodge Mlxg. No flash available for Warzone. He's going to be able to get sidestep. Stretching strike comes out. Cleanse is used. A lot of damage on Mlxg. The tower shot pops his passive. Not done yet. Slay now forced to hop away. All right, Gangplank ultimate comes down. There goes Uzi aggressively shifting forward. No summoners other than the heal used by Slay. Mlxg will survive for now.
Did get the passive popped, though, from the side of Warzone, playing that as strongly as he could. Forced to use the cleanse, but RNG trying to keep up pressure in the middle lane.
Yeah, and that pressure is definitely taking its toll here. Xiaohu on the Zoe, lots of kill pressure, and we've seen how little time it actually takes him to wear down his opponents and look for those solo kills. Continuing here on the top side of the map, though, YiJin sticking to that game plan. They haven't been able to actually come up with a kill on this top side of the map, but Letme's flash is down.
All right, Letme's flash is down. Mlxg's flash and passive is down. YiJin's going to use that end of the line, the smoke screen to secure the red buff. Another steal, some more control in the top lane. Just a quick one. RNG have only got first blood in 1 out of the 8 games that they've played. EVOS 3, they're looking to make that 4.
They are heading up towards the top side. The important thing to note is Warzone is with them. He does have the ultimate as well, but EVOS have no idea that Mlxg is lying in wait.
No, they don't. Letme will be the sacrificial lamb. Mlxg just goes, peace, I'm out. He uses that elastic slingshot, and that's just an easy kill here. In fact, donated to YiJin.
That is the most classic nope that we have seen. Xiaohu roaming to the bottom side, though, on the opposite end of the map to help out with a little bit of zoning here for the turret take.
Oh my word. Poor Letme. Didn't have his flash from earlier on in the game. He thought, hey, I've got my jungler here. I can push. I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, 2 members show up.
And do you know what? Poor Stock, because Vedius, you were saying you didn't want to see him on Ornn, but he's very comfortable on that champion. He keeps fighting on that Ornn the whole time.
And he doesn't have the ultimate cooldown up right now. There we see Mlxg being like, I recognize that this situation is dire for you, Letme. However, how about you let me get out of here?
But
does he always do this?
He does, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
No, I did the Rage Blade one earlier. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I know. It was unintentional. That's the worst part. But we're getting to 10 minutes. And yes, EVOS were able to pick up first blood. But as far as the stats are concerned, they've not got any first tower bonus gold across all 8 of their games. And when it comes to dragons, they've only got 1 first dragon out of 8 of their games. That's somewhere where RNG are a little stronger, and they've got strong laners in the middle and bottom, so they can set up around those objectives if they want to.
And even though this is, the early game plan is play around the top side there for YiJin, it's difficult to see the, well, never mind, we're going to have RonOP running here.
We will. Flash and Ignite is available to him. There's no support from anybody else. He flashes the True Shot Barrage. Mystic Shot from Uzi tags him. And they'll say, rinse and repeat, flashless Taric, we'll get him next time.
And the thing about RonOP, right, is he's quite a fascinating alive character because he has a 40% kill participation so far in this tournament. And for a support, that is extremely low. So moving on from like the mid game onwards, I really want to see what RonOP is doing in the mid game, because for you to have that little kill involvement when your jungler has like a 72% kill participation really speaks to what are you up to, Ron?
Yeah, you kind of get the story of this team. If you look at it and you're like, oh, well, YiJin's the one getting a lot of the kills, and they play split push a lot, so, they're often spread out, and they don't really combine for a lot of those moves. But this game, their top laner is an Ornn, so they need to have him team fighting later on.
He's been on 6 games, Kobe. What is he doing?
Well, we're going to find out, because Letme's going to back away. Uses the counter barrage to try to clear out this wave. I don't know if it will clear it, though. This could be the first tower for EVOS, but it's in a race. Uzi and Ming on the bottom lane, and first tower picked up by EVOS for the first time in 9 games. It's instantly responded, and Uzi and Ming are not done yet. They've got some support from Mlxg if they want to continue to pressure, and we'll see whether or not YiJin and Stark show.
And it's interesting. This kind of returns to what we were about to touch on before, as RNG are going to pick up this dragon. As the game plan, is top-centered here for EVOS, is an Ornn, camping for the Ornn, really going to out-carry camping for Uzi as we progress later into the game? Once Ezreal is able to get to the 1 and 2 item power spikes, it's going to be kind of difficult there for EVOS to really find those 5-on-5 victories, whereas having a Fed Ornn, he's tanky, but he's pretty much always going to be tanky, and the biggest part is the ultimate usage.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on the damage that Warzone and Slay can get down, whether or not Stark can buy enough time for them to get the damage out, especially when you look at their CS differences. Warzone and Slay, both behind Xiaohu and Uzi. Uzi's going to look for Warzone now, uses that W Spell Thief to get some damage. True Shot Barrage flies across, an attempted steal or assist there from Uzi. Or just for some vision, who knows? Nevertheless, it resets the Herald. It's an even gold game, and RNG are on the offensive. They've got the first tower on the bottom lane, and they're pushing out into mid.
What I find quite interesting about the Ezreal teleport is that it's now even easier for Uzi to farm, right? Because so far this tournament, I believe this is his first Ezreal of the tournament, and we already know that this guy is really good at farming, but when you know you can sit and play off on a side end and TP into a fight if you're needed, it's just the most efficient way to get farm all across the map and make sure that resources are constantly funneled into you.
Yeah, in addition, he's Ezreal. He can use his ultimate to get even more CS.
Oh my word.
And a hard push here. So he has done this, pushed it on the bottom lane. Right now, though, RNG are resetting with 2 members recalling, so probably won't be too offensive of a move. But something you previewed earlier, Vedius, the poke that RNG have drafted. That is about to come to brunt here in the mid lane. They can group up, fire off these skill shots, and only a couple of them do have to land before Warzone is, again, pushed back to base, as it's been constantly done throughout this game.
Yeah, and of course, you mentioned the fact that Uzi first Ezreal this tournament. Definitely not first Ezreal for Uzi. He's a pretty famous Ezreal player. Oh, yeah, Who knew that people with mechanical ability could play Ezreal so well? But of course, Uzi going to clear out that top wave. We saw a little bit of pressure in mid. Xiaohu and Uzi not going to stick around for the tower. And this is one of those games where, despite the fact it is even, RNG, when they played the first time, they were even until about 17 minutes and then won the game over the next 12. They just accelerated ahead. They hit that item power spike. No Trinity Force yet for Letme or Uzi. The moment those are completed, I would anticipate RNG to say, come at me, EVOS. I think we're ready to fight.
Based on their tournament's trajectory, one would imply that would be the case. We'll see if that is the game plan, though, or if EVOS can be the ones to find a successful fight. Stark has had a good game so far, has completed the Iceborne Gauntlet, and Kobe, you mentioned earlier that he wants to be grouping with his team and trying to force these engages. I wonder how well they'll be able to set that up against a team like RNG, who right now are just playing on all 3 lanes.
Well, right now they're getting a little bit of counter jungling done as YiJin stays a level ahead of the Zac, farming it up. But again, yeah, you're right. Like, usually the immediate answer that you think of when you think of poke is hard engaging on them, right? And the Ornn ultimate is going to be a core part of that. The other part is going to be the follow-up. How well can EVOS use this Ryze ultimate? Maybe get some flanks in, come out at them from some sort of crazy angle, or you know, do the vision work first.
I always like to think of Taric as well and how well he combos with champions, because one of my favorite combos is the Taric Zac combo, where you have a long-range stun, but also it's very easy for you to spread that ulti out because you have an ulti for the front line and an ulti for the back line. But for EVOS, they can use the ulti early, but then how do you then necessarily get onto the back line? Well, unfortunately, you can't. You have to deal with the Zac first before you can then start getting onto all this poke that sits behind it.
On the bright side, if they do find a way to deal with that Zac, there's a lot of squishy members. Graves, Ryze, Tristana will be very happy. Look at this map swap at the moment. Trinity Forces completed. Gentlemen, Royal never give up officially online. And with a minute 45 to a Mountain Drake, if they don't fight before that, RNG will definitely set their sights on the Mountain Drake. Actually, Mlxg is just going to decide to fight right now. Elastic Slingshot in. Let's bounce out. True Shot Barrage flies across. RonOP flashing away. Cosmic Radiance will buy some time. Stark is teleported into a Sleepy Trouble bubble, but he managed to buffer the movement and dashes away to safety. RNG will get the TP, will get the flash from RonOP, and most likely this mid tower.
And they can just poke at this tower. They don't have to rush anything right now. They've got a Gangplank pushing on bottom side.
Oh, they have indeed. Paddle stop to the face! Get dunked! Ron not so OP. Arcane shift over to the side. Uzi escapes with his life. RNG first kill.
This is the very classic Zoe Ezreal combo that we've been seeing a lot so far in this tournament. Every time you try to defend your tower, it's like, here, play with me. And unfortunately, EVOS is losing every time they choose to play.
They are indeed. Look at that. Letme chains the barrels onto Slay. Warzone's trying to zone him away. And they lose their tower in the mid lane. RNG 40 seconds to Mountain Drake. Gold is now 1,500 gold up. I'm looking for the paddle. I'm looking for the paddle. Oh, not going to commit. I thought Xiaohu could have done it. He could have gone for it, Kobe.
Could have done it. Did not decide to. As you said as well, though, the Drake will come up fairly shortly. And since they just took mid-turret and they already have deep wards, looks like RNG have pretty good handle on this game. And Uzi actually going to 1v2 on the top side a little bit instead. Nobody moving towards the dragon.
Not just yet. That paddle stuff fell just a little short. Ooh. Defensive flash, fail flash. Slay face planted. Can't afford those mistakes if you want to try and take down RNG.
Straight into the wall. Xiaohu so close to being killed. Remember, he did have cleanse up, so maybe he didn't even need to, but at the same time, flash of flash, EVOS not quite working out the way they wanted.
It's not. I mean, it's 2,000 gold down in what feels like the blink of an eye. There is an advantage, of course, for EVOS. They do have this Tristana, this Ryze, this Ornn, so if they find some team fights, the added value will be good, and they are the ones to start the Mountain Drake.
Yep, here come RNG, though. And remember, even though an AD carry is split pushing top, Uzi has teleport on the Ezreal. They've got the objective, though. EVOS able to take the Drake.
All right, so a little bit more late-game insurance on the side of EVOS, but they cannot afford to lose more objectives to this poke composition. If RNG set up the siege and Warzone maybe get a little confused of which direction he wants to go. Try to defend this tower. There we go.
The problem is that he's actually decided to go phase rush on the Ryze rather than the more conventional spellbook, which means that he's now forced to sit in a side lane against an Ezreal that has TP. And there are so many things wrong with the sentence that I just said that it feels so strange. He doesn't have it available, so for now, Warzone will be fine in the 1 versus 1, but if he is the one that's getting matched in a side lane against Uzi, it's always going to be easier for him to not only play super defensively and just keep the wave pushed up, but also then rejoin his team should RNG want to force an objective elsewhere.
Yeah, especially if, you know, something like a Zac engages and Gangplank ultimate comes down, phase rush can be very useful in escaping things like that, taking off the slow and being able to run through those giant AoE fields.
We're going to need a lot of time before we can see that happen. 20 minutes is fast approaching. And EVOS, look, they've got a scaling comp, right? They've got a team fight comp. They want to get to later game. But there's no slouching on the side of RNG. Gangplank, Ezreal, going to do so much as this game scales up. And look at this, Uzi picking a fight with YiJin. Cosmic Radiance will buy some time. YiJin gets bopped around. Paddle start just before the Radiance times out. And RNG, they're getting frisky. You can feel the tension, the need or the want to try and push EVOS around further.
Poker's come out, and here comes the hard engage.
Okay, but how much damage is there on the side of EVOS? It's a fight to multiple fronts. Ming is down. RonOP maker rather, as well as Xiaohu. Now the teleport finishes from Letme. Warzone's trying to zone Mlxg away. Slay got chunked out and he's killed by Uzi. It's a 1-for-2 in favor of RNG.
And this is a Ezreal with red buff, and they've got lane priority. So RNG, even though it's a trade here where they're able to get 2 kills for 1, they can also push on turret.
There's no flash for Warzone. He's going to get shut down if RNG chase. They decide against it. Warzone steps a little bit further forward. I think he's feeling very eager. Uzi finds YiJin, end of the line. There's not going to be enough damage. Uzi gets another kill, and Baron's going to spawn shortly. Are they going to try that?
RNG finding pick after pick. Feel like going for a Baron would be quite risky this early into the game. They don't have the fastest Baron taking team, especially with the Zoe and the Ezreal, but that'll become a lot easier as the game progresses. EVOS trying their best to find a successful fight. Unfortunately for them, it does not pay off.
Yeah, Uzi has Muramana transformation already, Trinity Force completed, and 2,100 gold in his pockets.
Oh man, as well as some free-ass boots. Got those for a little while, completes the Greaves, picks up his 2nd tier, as well as a lost chapter as well. RNG 4,000 gold up. Next dragon is a mountain, Baron is an objective, and this just got very split up for EVOS.
Right, I mean, EVOS, we talked about, they are looking for the hard engage, and they want to pull it off very quickly. RonOP, though, taken down at the very beginning of the fight, even though EVOS were able to focus down Xiaohu.
Yeah, Slay, he kind of got split off from the rest of his team, and Uzi was like, I can win this 1v1. And Slay was like, but don't, please. Please don't. And Uzi's like, but my KDA, bro. And he pads it out, getting himself an extra kill, and allows him to have the highest bar on the ground.
Good acting. They should pay you to do reenactments.
It would not be very entertaining, I'm afraid. It's a little droll.
Excuse me.
History Channel stuff, maybe.
But if I did it all in a Welsh accent...
That would be fantastic, but none of these guys would be able to understand that.
That's true.
At least historically accurate. Slay's got no flash available, and Mlxg was charging up that slingshot. And by the way, Stock flashed for that one. Uzi was able to escape with the arcane shift, and now all of a sudden, the Bastion will buy some time. Shutdown, that's very good for EVOS. Collateral damage picks up the kill, and now it's 5-on-4.
Good job there from EVOS, but they have to watch out.
All right, Drowsy onto YiJin. Where's the paddle star? Here comes Mlxg. Paddle star tags YiJin and RonOP. The damage is gigantic. There's another paddle and flies through. Flash forward for Xiaohu, just using the Spell Thief, I believe.
Yep.
And RNG not done yet, continuing to chase.
Oh, you can tell they really wanted to go in on that engage when the Sleepy Trouble bubble landed. But again, Uzi is so much of this team, so much of the damage, they don't commit. They don't want to take the extra risk. And RNG, so a little bit of restraint.
Ooh, look at that burst onto YiJin. Xiaohu's going to keep throwing out those paddles. Slay's stepping forward. This could get a little risky.
Uzi teleporting back.
All right, here comes Uzi. That's at least one Mystic shot. Arcane shift over as well. True shot for Oz will not take down RonOP. And with that portal jump, Xiaohu just falls a little shy. As it stands, the inner turret's down though.
And note how RNG are focusing their attention on the towers rather than the Baron. They recognize that the big way for them to throw this game would be going for a very early purple worm, so instead they'll just take the 3 objectives, they have full control over the map, and gaining further control over mid makes setting up towards the top side of the map a lot easier. So RNG with the safer decision.
And in addition, they have got a Mountain Drake 25 seconds on the way. So if they take that one first, then it becomes a lot less risky to burn that Baron down.
That's very, very true. So RNG will now set their sights on getting vision around the bot side river. But I must acknowledge how well Xiaohu has been playing so far in this game, because as they set up for vision, and if EVOS try to contest, they're going to constantly try to deal with Xiaohu as he's throwing out this non-stop poke.
Yeah, RonOP takes a shot to the face. And it was a good sign. Seeing EVOS, yes, they threw a lot at RNG, but they got Uzi down. And if they can get one of the carries in sort of Letme or Uzi, maybe that's a way that they can do more. Xiaohu forced to use his real flash. RonOP and Stark now running for their lives. Ming has joined the fight. A new challenger appears. YiJin wanting RNG to chase, wanting RNG to go into him. But they didn't because they're securing the uncontested Mountain Drake down bottom.
And that's a bit of an update. Been keeping track of this. RonOP so far, 66% kill participation has been involved in a lot of the action that EVOS have been trying to force. They, as a team, have been grouping up, trying to look for these engage opportunities, but yet to really snowball into a big advantage.
And Vedius, 100% kill participation for Stark and YiJin. So still the traditional, EVOS style, but they're bringing in that support. Because we were talking about how we wanted to see this Ornn involved and use the advantage.
I would like that, yes. But the question is, how well will they do it? Because Xiaohu's making their life very, very difficult right now, even after the pick from Uzi, who is level 14 on this Ezreal. Just the damage from Zoe with 2 items finished is rather terrifying.
And it's so funny when you watch games like this, because RNG so clearly ahead and in control, not really putting themselves in risky situations. But they smashed Flash Wolves in Kingzone harder than they did EVOS today. And there's always had results-based discussion, If this game gets to 30, 35, 40 minutes, what if EVOS's mechanical ability wins a team fight? What if EVOS start a huge upset? I mean, it is a big what if.
NA will be celebrating along with Vietnam because that would open the doors.
There's a couple Team Liquid fans in the audience who just cheered. I'm not quite sure if you heard that. But yes, I mean, there is stakes here. For RNG, a win secures them a semi-final spot, Kobe. And then there is a scenario where they could take first, but it would come down to tiebreakers and some of the rules pending the further results.
Again, all right, we have to check in on the Gangplank damage because Letme now in the side lane should be able to prep for RNG. And, whoop, never mind.
No, definitely not. Cosmic Raids will buy some time here for RonOP and YiJin. They get a stun onto Mlxg, but nothing else. Down in the river, Stark is being chased down by Letme. Here comes Mlxg. Stretching Strike is going to be interrupted by the Buster Shot. Relmore brings Warzone into the fight, but YiJin is down.
And it's RNG that group before EVOS. They're the ones to initiate the fight while the opposition is spread apart. The jungler is down. Baron is now an easier target to take, but Stark still has his engage.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble, insta-cleansed out of. Stark has actually used his ultimate already. Did not save it for a potential Baron pit fight. Could that be game-changing?
Yep,
5 members of RNG.
Still 14 seconds left on YiJin, so RNG can force.
All right, they can indeed. Another Trouble Bubble. Paddlestar's going to go into the pit. Baron's going low. It's about 50% HP. 4,000 hit points. There's no smite, remember. Going to be secured here by RNG. And Royal Never Give Up will turn to fight. Stretching Strike onto Stark. Good damage on Mlxg. Warzone forced to run away. Cannon Barrage comes out. Warzone still alive for a few seconds longer before Uzi takes him out. Now Stark's on the front line. Forced to jump backwards. YiJin's not done. He dashes forward. Stun comes out from RonOP and now slays the target. He's going to get caught. Tag, slip, taken down by Uzi. YiJin will be the next to fall if RNG chase. They decide against it. They've got the Baron and more towers.
Yep, they're not going to stop with just that. Here come 5 members of RNG with a double-stacked Baron minion.
Oh man, the inhibitor turret will be the target. Where is the defense? YiJin and Stark, the last members remaining. But they cannot stand toe-to-toe. At 27 minutes, the inhibitor drops.
RNG, they found the pick onto YiJin, and without the jungler's assistance, the risk of a steal was little to none. And after that, EVOS, they tried their best to go for a fight, but given that the ulti from Stark was used so early on, it meant that when they grouped up around the Baron, it was easy pickings for RNG.
Yeah, here we go. The Elastic Slingshot afterwards here for Mlxg to chase. Uzi jumps over the wall. They've got the Karma speed up also enabling this. And then both the Sleepy Trouble Bubble and Gangplank Ultimate to force Warzone to walk the long way around and buy Uzi enough time to shoot him down.
It's just a matter of RNG with the constant chase, with the Baron buff, everything coming together, and they're looking for that semi-final spot. Quickshot, you already talked about it. One win here will tie them up alongside Kingzone and will help them secure that spot.
Did a little bit of damage there, Uzi. 5,892. Mlxg 64. How do you only deal 64 damage? Is that like Cinderhulk proc? Is that about, or Stretching Strike maybe?
Yeah, Zach doesn't have a lot of high base damages, and it was on someone with magic resistance. Maybe it was a little bit of Cinderhulk burning for a while. He didn't touch anything else.
So Ron had 0 damage. I'm starting to figure out why maybe he's not getting as many assists. Couldn't really get involved with the fights, just mainly using the disengage tool.
In order to get an assist,
you have to get killed.
That is very valid.
Very valid point.
As it stands, he's still at 66% kill participation, as you so rightly pointed out. But RNG, they've got Baron, they've got a 10k gold lead. Played this one safe and by the numbers. Just guarantee themselves that top 4 seed. Oh!
Slapped in the face.
Oh, that is actually disgusting damage. But with the Void Staff, Nomicon, are you kidding me? Uzi sends his regards. The RNG fans in Berlin erupt in cheers. And in a 5 versus 4, Royal Never Give Up are taking down the base. Warzone will be the target. He's pushed away from the Nexus, and the 5-man stack of RNG are onto the Nexus turrets. Only Warzone and Stark remaining. Call of the Forge Guard did nothing. The Nexus turrets are falling, and RNG will take down EVOS. RNG qualify for the semifinals in Paris.
Very dominant and convincing win coming off the back of RNG. Very much what you would like if you are a fan of RNG, especially going into the semi-finals. The remaining games today still mean a lot in terms of seeding, but also battling for that 4th and final semi-final seed.
Especially in this tournament where the top spot and the trophy are so much in contention, and you feel like multiple different regions have a very good shot at it. RNG putting themselves right up near the top of the standings.
Really, really well played. Clean, controlled. There was opportunities for EVOS. They were not so insurmountably behind that their team composition could not work. But unfortunately, just some of those picks, some of the mispositioning on the map hurt them. EVOS are now 1-8, if my memory serves correctly. They have 1 game left later today, I believe, against Fnatic. And that will be the end of their MSI run. For RNG, though, they're going to be looking very closely at the rest of the games because only Team Liquid or Fnatic are fighting for that final berth into the top 4, Kobe.
Oh, they're fighting all right, and they're about to come up next. A lot of anticipation to see if it is going to continue the run for North America's best.
I mean, the Magic, right? They have to bounce back. They have to take down Flash Wolves. How much pressure does this add to the players?
Probably a lot. Like, well, okay, so you can
because if you know you're out, if you know you're out, it's off, right?
Yeah, but sure. But right now, odds are stacked against you, right? So you're kind of looking at this and you're thinking, okay, it's quite unlikely that we'll be able to qualify, so we'll just do our best and hope things work out. But now things are in control for Liquid if they find themselves the 2 wins.
Yeah.
But the tiebreaker possibility is still within their sights.
Well, we will find out. I love seeing shots there from EVOS backstage, despite the loss, despite the fact they're out there still taking this deadly seriously. When we come back, Team Liquid will get themselves a chance to tie the score with Fnatic by taking down Flash Wolves. We're also going to hear from Ming, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. He uses that elastic slingshot, and that's just an easy kill here. In fact, donated to YiJin.
Poker's come out, and here comes the hard engage.
Okay, but how much damage is there on the side of EVOS? It's a fight to hold on the front. Ming is down in the river. Stark is being chased down by Letme. Here comes Mlxg. Stretching Strike is going to be interrupted by the Buster Shot. YiJin's not done. He dashes forward. Stun comes out from RonOP and now slays the target. He's going to get caught. Tag, slip, taken down by Uzi. But with the Void Staff from Nomicon, are you kidding me? Uzi sends his regards. The Nexus turrets are falling, and RNG will take down EVOS. RNG qualify for the semifinals in Paris.
Predator, proud partner and official monitor provider.